Now, as you can tell by the title of this live stream, I am talking about compatibility in a very informal way in astrology. So we're talking about sun signs: Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, and how they interact with other signs. There's more to it than that. So in astrology, there's something called synastry, which is the astrology of relationships. It looks at the dynamics, similarities, differences, challenges, or benefits or advantages or relationships between one person and another based off of what they have going on in their chart, whether the relationship is more challenging or easier. So if someone has his or her sun conjunct another person's Saturn sign, so if this is a real life example, my sun is at 16 degrees of Aries, and my grandma's Saturn placement is at 16 degrees of Aries. And so that would be that kind of relationship dynamic. Now, in terms of the aspects, so say my Venus was on another person's Mercury, conjunct another person, or square another person's Mercury placement, or op- opposition, in opposition to that, in a sextile to that. So, there's various aspects in astrology. So, the aspects, squares are more difficult. And, I think when it comes to the aspects, those really have us take a look at the interactions, um, between us and other people. So we're talking about relationships, and certain relationship dynamics are easier and harder than others. So squares are more difficult. There's resistance, there's tension, there's a war, but ultimately square relationships that are more challenging can bring room for more growth and evolution. Sextiles, people are collaborating. It's an easier energy. Triangles are very easy, very harmonious. You can get along with people very, very well when you're trying. There's mutual understanding when you have a lot of one element in your natal chart, that other person has a lot of that same element, or say you have a lot of fire in your chart and that other person has a lot of air, you have a lot of earth and person has a lot of water. So it's this elemental compatibility and balancing, counterbalancing interactions. So, synastry or synergy, when people are working together, and an energy that can happen when, like a dynamic duo, when two people merge their power together to create something better than the two of them could have imagined doing alone. So that is where we look at this compatibility. These relationships is, that kind of thing. So when it comes to compatibility, some signs are more, well, I don't want to say compatible than others, but compatible in other ways. Let's not single it out like this sign is not compatible with this sign over here, because the truth is there is no such thing as bad compatibility. There may be challenges, difficulties, differences that may come up, but it's all relative to, just because you have a just because you have a Capricorn and the Leo in a relationship does not mean that it's a difficult relationship. It's all based around what is going on in the person's chart, especially the person's moon sign, which is how you nurture, how you care, how you are emotionally tender and vulnerable, and what your emotional needs are on a deep instinctual level. And Venus is obviously the planet of relationships, what you value in terms of relationship, how you want the partner to show up in relationship, what kinds of people are you attracted to. That's very Venus energy because it does real things like balance, harmony, partnership, those kind of things. Because Venus rules Libra, and so there's a very Libran traits. So those two are really, really huge. And also Mercury, how the partners communicate, need to learn, need to take in information, how they talk to one another. Mercury is also very, very important. Yeah, it's all important. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to break down the signs from Aries through Pisces and go through the different combinations. And I'm doing it all in this way because, there's more to it than this. And someday I might do a compatibility series when it comes to the different zodiac signs. Although I am not a fan of doing that because we're just talking about the signs and sun signs, but it's really a bigger picture when you really have to take into consideration the natal birth chart and aspects and things in the natal birth chart. So I don't know. But anyway, so Aries and Aries, both of them are, they like to take the lead. They like to initiate. They're very assertive signs. They're very strong signs. Aries and Aries in compatibility make a very fiery, passionate relationship with a lot of stimulation, a lot of newness, and a lot of just fire. Now, all this is very cookbook, and all this is cardboard cutout. I just want to remind you that this is, these are very general things. So there's a lot of room for excitement and adventure. Both of the partners want to have fun. They want to achieve their goals. They want to, Aries desires to chase. Aries wants to go after what it wants. Now, both of them have a fight, not necessarily an argumentative fight, but both of them sort of want the same things, but at the worst, there could be conflict with butting heads with one wanting to control the other. And so if they can work together with these kind of issues and these kind of things going on, then that is going to be a good thing, where one isn't controlling the other. Because remember, Aries is a cardinal sign, and they can be controlling, they can, take the lead. And so there could be some competition with one wanting to take control and have the power, take the lead in their relationship, the other wanting to do that. So watching out for that and working together where each of them getting what they want and need, both is going to be huge for them equally. Aries and Taurus. Aries and Taurus. Taurus is a stable sign. It is an earth sign. It wants security. There is a deep need for Taurus for inner security and peace. Taurus wants things to stay the same old. Oftentimes it doesn't. It's not a sign that likes a whole lot of change, a whole lot of new things, a whole lot of disruption in its environment. And it needs a partner that is reliable, that is going to be there by its side, that's going to be loyal to the Taurus as the Taurus is relatable, reliable and loyal and dependable for the other person. So the Taurus is sort of can provide the Aries a solid, rock to rely on. But then there can be this sort of conflict with just Taurus wanting, enjoying the finer things in life, stability, being very grounded, all these things, and moving slowly and steadily, and Aries wanting all this. And actually, I'm not going to, it's just going to be super exhausting to go through all of the signs. So what I'm going to decide to do is I'm going to actually decide to do something different. I'm going to break down each of the elements and go through each of the signs in relationship, because to go through the infinite pairs of signs and their relationships to one another would be very exhausting mentally, and I'm not going to do that. So that is not what I'm going to do. So, elements: fire, earth, air, water. Fire, it wants passion, it wants a lot of romance, it wants the relationship to feel alive, very stimulating. It certainly wants independence, and it wants to be, authentic. Fire, wants to be independent. There has to be adventure, there has to be newness, stimulation, and excitement in those kind of relationships where there's fun, like let's go to this new place, newness, where there has to be an element of honoring one's truth, an individual needs with fire, and yeah, so fire, that is what I can think of for that right now. Aries, I've kind of discussed Aries already. Leo is loving from the heart, loving from a genuine, authentic, heartfelt space, and so Sagittarius also wants, desires freedom, wants freedom. So Leo is about loving from the heart. It's, very generous energy. It wants, very committed relationship, heartfelt relationship. That's Leo. And Sagittarius wants freedom, wants adventure, wants each partner to have their own sort of philosophies and ways of living. Doesn't want to be tied down into partnership, needs that kind of independence. Actually, yeah, I'm forcing myself to go through the rest of the signs, and I am not really in the space and mindset right now to do that. Virgo wants organization. Yeah. I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to put the link below. I'm going to put a link, if I can remember to put a link, to a whole series of videos on the zodiac signs in relationship. I'm going to put some resources of astrological compatibility below this video so that you can check out more extended resources on the signs and compatibility.